Hello, I'm George Abernathy, the proud president of FreightWaves, and I'm particularly proud that we're able to provide so much great content for you at FreightWaves Live at Home. I really am looking forward to seeing so many of you in person at the Future of Freight Festival, F3, in Chattanooga coming up at the beginning of November. But there's a ton of content that we're going to get through in our virtual summit today. So one of the real highlights, I believe, for us is going to be our conversation right now, our fireside, with Mark Yeager. Mark, thanks for doing this.
Hey, George. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Mark is the CEO of Redwood Logistics. Mark has a long-standing background within the industry, touching on all the modes. So it's a really good opportunity to have one of the leading people in our industry, leading one of the cutting-edge companies, talk to us today about what he sees in the overall macro market and what's going on at Redwood Logistics. So it's sort of the topic that has been at the forefront for the last year and 3 months or so, Mark. So I'll just tee it up with that. How has Redwood been dealing with, and how has Redwood been serving your customers throughout this pandemic's disruption?
Well, George, it's a good question. I've been in this business for a long period of time, and I can't recall ever seeing a market quite like this. I think if if we looked back on this time a year ago and knew how long that this was going to go on, I think we'd all have some concerns, right? But fortunately, Redwood has fared very well throughout the entire pandemic. Our business has grown very nicely. And we've really been able to move all of our three segments forward from a growth perspective, and we've also been able to really move forward with implementing our strategic initiatives. So, on the brokerage side, it's been incredibly busy. We saw in April of last year, things really quieted down, but it's been momentum building, throughout the remainder of 2020 and certainly into 2021. The market is extremely tight right now and very much disrupted. At the same time, brokerage has been able to make real progress with their journey on digitization, which we're extremely excited about. On the managed services, side of our business, we're bringing on new customers, which is great to see. And we're also helping our existing customers deal with this highly disrupted market, I think by bringing new opportunities to bear and new options for our customers as they're trying to grapple with what's really a whole new set of rules of engagement right now, and what looks to be probably a disrupted market for the foreseeable future. Our innovation side of the business, which really focuses on helping customers get the most out of their investment in supply chain technology, has seen an uptick. Certainly we saw in 2020 a slowdown as people started to pull back on investments in bringing on new TMS systems and other types of technology. That's changed. Customers are now back looking at their strategic options. And maybe what's most exciting within that group is they're really spearheading the launch of what we call LPaaS, which is Logistics Platform as a Service, something we're very excited about at Redwood and have built a lot of very positive momentum around.
Well, let's use that as the leaping off point, because as a logistics person from way back, 3PL, 4PL, managed trans brokerage, you're talking my language. So you had me at hello. Talk to me a little bit about the announcement that we saw today and what LPaaS is all about.
Sure. So LPaaS is much more than a tech strategy. It's really a new operating model for us. And think about it as bridging the gap between logistics execution and technology, using some proprietary tools, especially Redwood Connect, our no-code integration platform, to leverage an open ecosystem. So those are a lot of words, but when you think about it conceptually, right, what we saw and continue to see in the marketplace is there's all this emerging technology coming into our ecosystem. There's also emerging new players, and you see them on the floor of a typical FreightWaves conference all the time. Not all the great ideas are coming from the large TMS providers or the larger 3PLs. There's a lot of emerging concepts, ideas, technologies, and data sets that are out there that can really help our shippers effectively manage their supply chain. The problem is historically they've been prevented from being able to really access that. They've been unable to integrate whether it was a technology or a new partner in an effective way. So they've been forced to accept the limitations of their transportation management system or potentially the strengths and weaknesses of their third-party logistics provider. And what LPaaS does is it enables shippers to get beyond those limitations and really develop a highly customized solution that meets their needs in an affordable and scalable way.
So you have said a lot, and as I described, that really resonates with me as being something that the industry's been looking for, and that ingenuity, that sort of Redwood-centric technology. You guys really do seem to work a step ahead and looking for what you can do next. So, help me visualize this. Help the audience visualize this. How would LPaaS work for me if I'm a customer of Redwood?
Sure, absolutely. And as you might imagine, if we're talking about customization, right, it varies from one customer to another. And we have dozens and dozens of customers up on LPaaS right now. So this is not a theory or a concept. We're pushing about $3.5 billion in freight under management through this platform. And it's very compelling. So, typically it starts with a somewhat limited engagement. So a customer might want to implement a new TMS system. And then they quickly realize that they need to integrate perhaps with their ERP system. And they see how much more powerful that can be if you have real integration, with corporate. From there, they realize that maybe their TMS might serve most of their needs, but it doesn't necessarily get everything done that they want. So maybe they want help with dock scheduling, or maybe they want a better visibility tool, as they might find through Project 44, for example. Maybe they want to provide a driver notification system to their team. And so even if that isn't native to their TMS, if there's a technology out there, we can use LPaaS, and in this case specifically Redwood Connect, to connect with those and integrate with those technology applications. It also would apply, obviously, to carriers, and we do a lot of carrier integrations using Redwood Connect, and external data streams. So maybe a customer might want to bring in data from the marketplace in order to make better procurement decisions within their supply chain group. But they have difficulty translating that data into a way that their system can digest it and apply it. Redwood Connect does that translation for the customer, so they don't have to worry about how they take care of that heavy lifting around integration and translation.
So it sounds like there's the opportunity, Mark, that as you're serving these customers with LPaaS, that it can in fact evolve to being an ever-increasing valuable solution. So how will LPaaS evolve over time? Will the scale of customers that you'll be using it for continue to increase? Will the customers that are using it or you're using it for be able to see additional value? I've always thought in the world of managed transportation around the challenge of the new car smell, right? That first year of outsourcing so often is, it's a new car smell. It's great. I've got such competency in a company like Redwood to do this for me and to bring the best practices. But then it's year 2 and you're still doing the great stuff, but the new car smells not as great. It still starts and it drives. And how does LPaaS play into that you'll be able to evolve into even greater value for your customers?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's really at the core of it is the idea of this open ecosystem. So, we're not limited by any set of solutions that we might develop internally, right? We're not limited by the capabilities of a single 3PL, right? What we're able to do is pick and choose from the marketplace. And as new technologies emerge, we're able to tap our customers into those new technologies. So, what we're seeing right now and what we anticipate to accelerate is we're bringing more and more customers in. We're bringing more and more, carriers into this open ecosystem. We're bringing more and more technology partners, and you're going to see a lot of discussion about that coming out of that, as in terms of what kinds of technology partners we're bringing into this ecosystem. We're also bringing more data sources in all the time. So as the platform builds, and as we're building more and more connectors, it's a flywheel effect. It gets more and more effective and provides a more comprehensive set of potential solutions for our customers as it builds. It's really, think about Redwood Connect as the mortar that holds all these different bricks together. And the bricks might be carriers, they might be new technologies, and they might be different data sets, right? And together it forms a wall, right? And that wall is LPaaS, right? That's your customized solution that the customer can very much tailor to their own individual needs. As we get more and more bricks in place, as the wall builds, unlike a conventional brick wall, it gets stronger, not weaker, because there's more and more inputs, and that creates more and more value.
That's extremely exciting, and I know it can and it already is and will be even more game-changing in the way that your customers are driving value out of it. And as you describe it, I think it really is exciting for the folks who are watching and understanding how this is going to change our industry going forward. I want to switch a little bit and get the opinion and thoughts of one of our industry's leaders who really does touch on, and the uniqueness of a Redwood is you touch in a lot of areas. You touch in carriers, you touch on the shipper market, you touch in brokerage and the like. So I think it's appropriate, we all have experienced the pandemic, and now we're going forward. We've talked a lot about things that were, drawn forward. We were looking at, 2 or 3 years down the road that we're now doing. What are some of the things that Mark Yeager, what are some of the things that Redwood has experienced, that your customers are experiencing, that you think will carry on going forward, that the pandemic really made apparent to us?
Boy, there are a lot of things I think that hopefully lessons learned, from all of this. Certainly from a work environment perspective, I am very thankful that this did not happen 20 years ago, before we had this technology. I don't know how we could have managed the business. We're still about 90% remote. We're just getting back. Folks are just starting to come back in. I'm thrilled to hear that you guys are doing a live event in November. We'll definitely be there because we're starting to, fortunately, get back to a more normalized world, but we're not there yet. And I'm not sure we'll ever go back to the same environment that we were. I don't see us requiring all of our people to be here on a 5-day-a-week, 9-to-5 basis. Certainly there are some jobs that need to be done face-to-face, right, and really benefit from that direct human interaction. But a lot of our job, can be done at least in part remotely. Throughout all of this, we've learned that we can be extremely productive, despite the fact that, we're working from home in what's generally kind of a suboptimal environment. But our experience has been that our folks have really stepped up, and I think we'll be able to give our folks a lot more freedom and a lot more choice in terms of their normal workday, going forward. I think at the same time, we've seen some real challenges throughout this entire pandemic, and we've seen that there's a lot of weak links within the supply chain, and we've seen how complex it is when you're managing on a global basis. I think we've all, experiencing some of the shortages that we've seen, and unfortunately, it doesn't look like any of that is going to be corrected anytime soon. So I do think that our shippers are realizing that they need help in managing this increasingly complex supply chain and increasingly vulnerable supply chain out there. So more and more customers are looking for, expertise, looking for help. And generally speaking, they just, don't have the resources necessarily to do everything in-house, nor should they. So I think we're seeing a real acceleration in outsourcing. I do think we'll see some effort on behalf of a number of shippers to get less dependent on offshoring. We'll see more and more, I think, folks attempt to come in and nearshore, we're certainly seeing an uptick in activity into and out of the Mexico market. And I think that's something that's likely to be, sustainable for the near term. But overall, I would say that this has taught us that we need to be nimble. We need to be flexible. Unanticipated things will happen, and we have to be able to react in a way that keeps business flowing and doesn't allow these bottlenecks to completely shut us down. So it's not an easy problem. It's not easy to address, but I do think that the technology has helped us work our way through it, and a lot of the aversion to technology, I think, will be overcome now because folks can see the power that it brings to the table when things are dynamic in the way that they are.
One thing I wanted to ask about and has been topical for those of us who've been in the industry for a while, around green, around ESG, around sustainability. Your background has been in an area that is obviously, a mechanism to move goods in intermodal that is much more efficient in many ways. But let me speak specifically to Redwood and how your customers are engaging with you. What are they asking a Redwood to do? And I think you're already, in a way, with Redwood Connect and building that wall, that brick wall you're describing. I think you're already on the way there. Am I right about thinking about it that way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. There is definitely, especially at larger shippers right now, there's a real concern around sustainability, around corporate governance, around contributing to your community in a positive way. That's definitely been a part of the Redwood culture for a long time. We do a lot of philanthropic work. We do a lot of work, for our community. Obviously, we have solid governance, but when we think about sustainability, that's become an increasingly hot topic, for our customers, and they want to know that they're doing what they can to minimize their carbon footprint, right? And there's a number of strategies that you can follow to help, down that path. Goods still have to move, so it's tough to get to a zero emissions footprint, especially near term. But I think what we can do is help our customers really improve the efficiency of their supply chains. And by nature of that, if you're driving fewer miles, if you're using more efficient solutions, consolidating LTL, shifting from over the road to intermodal, any one of a number of strategies that you can pursue that really help you eliminate inefficiency. That eliminates cost. It also tends to reduce your carbon footprint. So we're helping our customers develop those strategies, and then we're helping them measure the impact of implementing those strategies.
You talked about it, and I've only got a minute or so I'll probably have to land the plane here after this, but you talk about Redwood, and Redwood's well known for your philanthropic endeavors. Folks at FreightWaves have talked to Redwood folks before about the Redwood Games. Do you have anything to share with our community with regards to what efforts Redwood might be undertaking in the near term?
Sure, absolutely. We're doing a number of things. We have a Veterans in Logistics Forum coming up. We have a Women in Logistics Forum coming up. Our big event, though, every year is the Redwood Games. It's something that we've done as a company now for a number of years. We do it to help a charity, to raise funds for a charity that's selected by our employees. So this year it's St. Jude Children's Hospital. So we're very excited about that. And really what we do is we break the company down into teams, and each team is responsible for various fundraising activities over a sort of multi-month period. It's really fun. The people get very creative about it. This year, we're assigning additional bonus points for activity that benefits our community or our customers. Or our culture. And it's a really fun way to build a team spirit, and it's a terrific way to raise money for a good cause. We put a lot of energy into it. We are hoping, like you are, to have a in-person event at its culmination at the end of this summer. It's typically a party on Montrose Beach. I think we'll have to do something a little bit different this year, but it's really a great way to bring the whole company together and reinforce Redwood's strongest attribute, which I believe is our culture. It's a great culture. It's truly unique, and this is a way to really help us build on it.
Well, a big thank you to Mark Yeager, the CEO at Redwood Logistics. Your description around what is being announced in LPaaS is thrilling. It's exciting. It's next generational in the evolution of where we are in our community and in our industry, and the leadership that you're showing and that Redwood's showing around technology ingenuity, around philanthropic measures. It really does deserve thank you, and I want to appreciate you for taking this time. I know how busy we are, and thanks, Mark. It's always good to see you, and thank you to Redwood Logistics for letting you spend the time with us. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, George. It's been great to see you, and we'll see you in person in November.
We look forward to it. So enjoy the rest of our fabulous content during the FreightWaves Live at Home Virtual Summit, and I look forward to seeing everybody in November in Chattanooga at the Future of Freight Festival F3. Thanks much. Take care.